Do you like it? Jennifer Campbell met her friend's eyes in the mirror as she turned her to face her reflection. Camille's face lit up as she turned her head from side to side to look at her finished braids. I love it! It's perfect for the party, Jen. And you got the pink and purple streaks just where I wanted them. Thanks. No problem, hon. Enjoy yourself. I certainly will. And I know you said I don't have to pay you, but it's only fair. I would have paid a hairdresser to do it anyway. Jennifer rolled her eyes. Come, put it towards some crochet thread or those macrame cords that you love, but I'm not taking it back. Jennifer ignored her friend as she placed a few notes on the dresser and stood. Camille picked up her backpack, and Jennifer followed her out of the bedroom at the back of the house. They passed through the kitchen to get to the back door. Good evening, Mrs. Campbell. Camille greeted Jennifer's mother, who was stirring a bubbling pot on the stove. Camille, I didn't know you were still here. Mrs. Campbell greeted her with a smile. Jennifer cringed internally, knowing good and well that her mother was very much aware that the two girls had been in Jennifer's room for the past 7 hours. It's good to see you again, dear. Your hair looks wonderful. You need to encourage your friend to get her hair done as well. See you later, Camille. Jennifer quickly ushered her out the door before she could respond. As soon as she came back inside, her mother attacked. You can take a page out of her book. She is such a lovely girl. Did you know that she has a summer job with a high-end tech company? Why don't you see if she can put in a good word for you? They don't have any vacancies, Jennifer mumbled, anxious to flee the suddenly oppressive air in the kitchen. I bet you didn't even ask. You just want to be worthless and lazy. I'm telling you again, you have 1 year left in high school and you're turning 18. I don't have any time and money to waste on lazy children. So don't bother think about going to university like your brother. You'd better figure it out. Jennifer swallowed against the lump in her throat as her vision blurred with hot tears. She hurried to her room and closed the door behind her before they could fall. She leaned against it and closed her eyes, taking several deep breaths to get her emotions under control. For the umpteenth time, she wondered what she had done to deserve this life. She was a good child. She did not get into trouble. She did not have friends who were bad influences. As a matter of fact, she barely had any friends, and the few she did have were children of her mother's friends, like Camille. She kept mostly to herself at school, so there were no schoolmate friends. She did not make unnecessary financial demands on the small household and her mother's single salary, and preferred to do without rather than be a bother. She stayed in her room, did whatever chores she was assigned, and was respectful. Yet still, it was not enough to please her mother. She took one more deep breath before moving to the dresser to clean up the hair all around. She made quick work of getting her room back in order. It was not until she was putting away the scissors that her eyes fell on the money Camille had left. Her mouth fell open as she counted the crisp $1,000 bills. $8,000? Just to put in a couple of box braids? Braiding was something she did on and off for her friends, but no one had ever paid her before, as they were all broke anyway. But $8,000? Camille was right in saying that this would go a long way towards her macrame cords. And speaking of macrame, she put the money into the small box in her underwear drawer and went to the corner where she had an old mop stick wedged between two bars of the open grill on her window. She ran her hand over the knots and smiled. All she needed was 5 more rows and her bedside rug would be completed. This was by far the biggest project she had done, and it had taken her much more cord than planned. But it was worth it all to have a one-of-a-kind rug to call her own. She pulled out the stool and sat as she reached for the cords. The house was silent when Jennifer finally gave in to the ache in her back, and she decided to call it a night. She stood and stretched for a while, working out the kinks. She had finished the rug hours ago, but she had so much cord left over that she decided to make a matching runner for her dresser. And then another idea had been birthed, but thankfully she was now out of cord, or her body would have protested to be given even more work. She gathered her toiletries and went to have a quick shower. Afterwards, she found her dinner on the stove, covered in her usual bowl. She ate it cold and washed the bowl before heading back to her room. After such a long and physically demanding day, one would think that she was exhausted. But her mind was going a mile a minute. She grabbed her phone and took a few pictures of the rug. Without giving it too much thought, she posted a picture of it along with a picture she had taken of Camille's finished braids. The caption read, "When you're home for the summer and bored, you braid your friend's hair and make a rug for your room." A huge groan escaped her, and she had just enough presence of mind to pull a bonnet over her unruly twists before hitting the sack. She was asleep in mere seconds. But even as she slept, the internet was wide awake.